Blessings, friends. It's Maia here with an Astro update. Today we have a total solar new moon eclipse at 20 degrees of Leo. Those of you who have planets in the fixed signs of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, or planetary placements around 20 degrees in your natal chart will likely feel the effects of this eclipse the most. Eclipses are a time of swift change. Life events tend to occur around eclipses that will mark significant turning points in our year. Eclipses can be felt most prominently 6 weeks to 3 months during and after its occurrence. Like a full moon on steroids, these celestial events are pivot points in our year, either boosting or pushing us into realignment associated with our soul's path and life's mission, all through situational occurrences that can sometimes feel fated or out of our control. This eclipse is happening on the Leo-Aquarius axis, an axis representing love for self versus love for the collective. You can look to see what houses Leo and Aquarius fall in your specific natal chart to see what two main areas of life will be highlighted and undergoing change for you this eclipse season. On a positive level, this lunation can be confident, creative, courageous, determined, generous, and warm-hearted. On a challenging level, this lunation can be dramatic, prideful, dogmatic, stubborn, and egoic. Typically, eclipses are a time to lay low and be in your own energy field, if you can help it. It's really not a time to manifest, plant seeds, or take any risk, as there's a lot of energetic heightening going on that's out of our control, as our divine angels and spiritual guides are now moving pieces on the chessboard of life to make utmost importance all is going as planned in regards to our fate and destiny. This lunation is a specifically South Node Leo eclipse, and the South Node represents a release, letting go, and surrender. But we also have Jupiter there, which with the South Node can represent growth, blessings, luck, opportunity, and abundance. So the South Node and Jupiter together can manifest as a need to release something first, an old way of doing or being, to make room for a new, better way of doing or being. Leo is associated with leaders, authority, public image, a status, achievement, notoriety, and legacy. One can look to 2007 to 2009 or 2017 to 2019 for previous Leo Aquarius eclipse cycle themes. What life events were prominent for you and the collective then that might be coming back around similarly yet different now? The ruler of this lunation is the sun, which is the luminary that's symbolic of our ego, vitality, character, and our soul's path. It's in its home sign of Leo, heightening themes of the heart and true integrity. We also have Venus, the planet of love, beauty, money, and relationships, in Libra, creating a kite formation in the sky. Thus, she's pulling us back like a bow and arrow to propel us further in a specific life direction. All dependent on your specific natal chart. For a personalized reading, please reach out. This kite formation is flowing harmoniously to Uranus, the planet of sudden changes, breakthroughs, and Pluto, the planet of death, rebirth, and transformation. This could bring a lovely Venusian transformation that harmonizes with sudden change occurring in our life. Yet within this kite formation, Venus is opposing Neptune. Thus, it's important to be mindful of any idealization and poor discernment at this time. We do have a lovely flow to Saturn, the planet of structure and discipline, which can mean doing the hard practical work and taking care of obligations responsibly can help root us down deeper, creating greater stability for Jupiter's blessings to sprout forth. Overall, going forward, Leo is asking us to move from the heart, walking into deeper levels of truth, love, bravery, compassion, loyalty, awareness, and divine purpose, mission, and drive. Especially as this eclipse is in such close proximity within the Lionsgate portal. I see leaders who are not of the heart falling from grace, leaders who are of the heart rising to the occasion to fill in as needed, as there is certainly a changing of the guards occurring. What area of life will this total solar eclipse be happening for you based upon your rising sign? For Leo rising, this eclipse is happening in your first house. This could bring a release and rebuilding around one's self, identity, physical body, outward appearance, and new endeavors. For Virgo rising, this eclipse is happening in your 12th house. This could bring a release and rebuilding around the unseen realms, spirituality, mysticism, one's imagination, behind-the-scenes work, jails, hospitals, self-undoings, as well as retreats, ashrams, music, and the arts. For Libra rising, this eclipse will be happening in your 11th house. This could bring a release and rebuilding having to do with one's friendships, large groups of people, networks, organization, progressive ideas, and future hopes and wishes. For Scorpio rising, this eclipse will be happening in your 10th house. This could be bringing a release and rebuilding around one's career path, work, public image, status, authority, leadership, reputation, achievement, notoriety, and legacy. For Sagittarius rising, this eclipse will be happening in your ninth house. This could bring a release and rebuilding around higher education, long distance global travel, publishing and teaching, philosophies, belief systems, religion, pilgrimages, and gurus, as well as government institutions. For Capricorn rising, this eclipse will be happening in your eighth house. This could bring a release and rebuilding around shared money, shared resources, investments, inheritances, taxes, loans, mortgages, the occult, psychology, intimacy, and deep bonds. For Aquarius rising, this eclipse will be happening in your seventh house. This could bring a release and rebuilding around personal relationships, business relationships, marriages, contracts, negotiations, agreements, collaborations, and legal documents. For Pisces rising, this eclipse is happening in your sixth house. This could bring a release and rebuilding having to do with one's diet, exercise, employment, coworkers, daily routine, rental agreements, organization, as well as small pets and animals. For Aries rising, this eclipse will be happening in your fifth house. This could bring a release and rebuilding having to do with one's creativity, children, romance, dating, hobbies, joy, celebrations, entertainment, as well as small business endeavors. For Taurus rising, this eclipse will be happening in your fourth house. This could bring a release and rebuilding having to do with home life, family, real estate, property, emotional safety, inner security, as well as ancestral roots and tradition. For Gemini rising, this eclipse will be happening in your third house. This could be bringing a release and rebuilding having to do with one's communication styles, local travel, community, neighborhood, transportation, vehicles, short-form learning and writing projects, as well as extended family and siblings. And last but not least, for Cancer rising, this eclipse will be happening in your second house. This could bring a release and rebuilding having to do with how one makes money, income, saving, earning, and spending styles, personal resources, physical material possessions, food you eat, as well as one's self-worth and self-esteem. Total solar eclipse blessings to you all.